Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Gyan Timirandasya. Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Continuing our reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 5, with commentary by Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur, we're hearing the story told by Narada of his previous birth before he was known as Narada Muni, son of Brahma. Here he's identified just as a young boy who is the son of a maidservant, who during the Chaturmasya period, the 4 months of the rainy season, was engaged in serving some sadhus who were residing within their household. And as she was serving them, the young boy would listen to their instructions and learn of their demeanor and so forth. They took a liking to him. It describes also that last week we were reading how he, with their permission, took the prasadam of those sages, the Maha prasadam, little rice, and how it transformed him. So as they were leaving at the end of the Chaturmasya season, which concludes with the Kartik month, they desired to further show their mercy to this young boy who was very receptive to them. And thus they gave him Mantra Diksha. They gave him the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Tubhyam Vasudevaya Dhimahi Pradyumna Anirudhaya Namaha Sankarshanaya Cha. I offer my respects to Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and let us offer our respects to Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and Sankarshan also within our minds. Commentary by Srila Visvanatha Cakravarti Thakur. It has been explained that both Gyan and Karma without Bhakti are completely useless. That is, they don't give us the ultimate goal of life and they don't ultimately satisfy. It has been said in 3 verses that pure Bhakti, beyond the gunas, is the supreme process. That Bhakti, which is engaged in on the transcendental platform, is the supreme process. The whole process, from the first appearance of pure bhakti to its increase up to prem, has been described within 6 verses. Then it has been described that according to qualification, some mixed bhakti was permitted. Bhakti Mishra Gyan and Karma Mishra Bhakti was mentioned. That is, sometimes because of one's previous disposition, one is not able to immediately elevate oneself to the level of pure bhakti. So there is a mixture then of one's previous tendencies of gyan or karma mixed in with one's bhakti. That is all right for some time, but ultimately the aspects of karma and gyan are to be dropped, and pure bhakti is to be engaged in to awaken the natural love of the soul for the Lord. That is called prem bhakti. So now in 2 verses, desiring to teach his personal mantra received from the gurus, Narada first creates faith in those mantras. As he's talking to Vyasadeva, he is telling the story of how he received a mantra from these sadhus, and now he is trying to create faith within Vyasadeva as to the power of pure bhakti and the mantras received from the pure souls or sadhus who reward us with those mantras when we are ready within this lifetime. So this, according to the statement, is that the Guru speaks the secret to his disciple who has developed affection for his guru. That is, when the spiritual master sees that the disciple is qualified through their own affection. These sadhus saw that the young boy had become affectionate towards them, and they became, in reciprocation, affectionate towards him, and they wanted to do the best they could for him, just as it's natural that a father or a parent wants to do best for their children. So the spiritual master wants to do the best thing he can for his disciples, but that's also in accordance with the reciprocation he is receiving. There's of course, the principle where there are bad sons and not qualified to receive maybe the assets of the father and like that. So that may be also the case in some situations, that there are disciples who are not qualified to receive the highest goods. So the spiritual master is aware, seeing the nature of their relationship and so forth. So therefore the verse is said that the guru speaks the secret of the mantra to the disciple who has developed affection for his guru. This mantra has 33 syllables. Its devata, or the lord of the mantra, is Bhagavan, Krishna, or Vasudeva. And it consists of 4 forms. By placing the members out of order, instead of saying Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha, it says Vasudeva, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Sankarshan. So generally, the proper order is Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. But the mantra here says, let me meditate upon Bhagavan, Vasudeva Dhimahi, along with Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Namaha, Sankarshanaya, and also Sankar. So there's a reason. By placing the members out of order, one can understand that this is a listing of the members of Krishna's Chaturvyuha rather than the one in Vaikuntha. Krishna, Balaram, and it is seen that within Krishna Lila, Krishna has son, and he has grandson. So Krishna and his brother Balaram, then Aniruddha, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Aniruddha. Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha. Like that. Krishna, Balaram, Krishna's son and grandson. With his son Pradyumna and his grandson Aniruddha placed next to Vasudeva, Krishna. So it is out of order in that sense. Or the order of persons mentioned in the mantra can be taken as a statement of creation. Pradyumna, maintenance, Aniruddha, and destruction, Sankarshan. The 3 aspects of the Lord. Let us meditate upon offering respects, Namo Dhimahi. Means let us offer respects within the mind. So, Vasudeva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom the further expansions take place for the purpose of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Using the mantra, the next verse says, indicating these 4 forms, one worships the deity who is the subject of the dhyana mantra, the Lord worthy of worship. That person is worthy of being seen. This is interesting, that the mantra is the form of worship, and it is used in the method of worship for the Lord, just like it is understood that the mantra received from the Guru are those mantras which are also utilized for the purpose of worshiping the Lord. And here it says that person who utilizes those mantras for the worship of the Lord is worthy also to be seen. In other words, they're fully dedicated, and therefore their presence is a benediction. Commentary: one worships using the 4 names indicating the 4 forms, starting with Vasudeva. One should worship the Lord, who is the subject of the dhyana mantra, mantra murtim. Murti means the form of the mantra. The form of the mantra is seen within the deity. Krishnaya Govindaya Gopijana Vallabhaya. Like that. In our Diksha mantra, we see Krishna within the mantra, and yet we also see him within the deity form. So the mantra is utilized in his worship in his deity form, or murti, mantra murti. He is worshipped with 16 items while uttering the term Vasudeva Namaha, or Krishnaya Namaha, like this, Vasudeva Namaha. Namaha means I offer this to you with this offering, whether it be the asana, idam asanam, etat pradyam, padyam, idam argyam, achmaniam, then namaha to you, O Krishna or Vasudeva, Vasudeva Namaha. This is in accordance with the rules of the Pancharatra, which is given to us by Narada Muni. By chanting the mantra, the deity makes his appearance. Or mantra murti can mean the deity whose body is the mantra, who is non-different than the syllables or the mantra. Krishnaya Namaha, like that. The Lord does not have a material form. Amortikam means that the Lord, who is not hard, but rather soft, meaning soft with mercy. So according to the Amara Kosh Dictionary, Murti Katiyaha Kayayor, Murti means hard or body. And Jagna Purusha means the Lord who should be worshipped. Jagna Purusham. He is pleasant to behold. Samyag Darshanaha. This means that when others see the worshipper, they also become successful. So he who worships with the mantras received from his guru is worthy of being seen also, because there is a benefit in seeing the worship being done by that person who has received the mantra, the Diksha mantras from his guru, and is employing them in the service of Krishna. This means that when others see that worshipper, that person who's doing worship, they also become successful. Or darshanaha can mean also knowledge, that they awaken their understanding of things. By seeing someone doing the worship, we understand the power of such worship. One who worships the Lord also has complete knowledge, or darshanaha can mean by which something is seen. That means scripture which denotes bhakti, such as the Pancharatra, which is most wholesome and becomes satisfying to the soul. The system of worship has actually been given to us by Narada Muni, Narada Pancharatra. He has given us the method of worship through which we receive mantra and the process of worshiping the Lord with those mantras, which is not different than the Lord himself, Mantra Murti. One who worships the Lord possesses complete spiritual knowledge and the complete spiritual conclusion. This does not refer to scriptures devoid of bhakti, which are not wholesome but deficient. So the point being made is that pure bhakti is that which actually satisfies. Here he says, though you, Vyasadeva, you wrote the Vedanta Darshan, your mind was not completely satisfied. But I became fully satisfied in my mind by writing this Pancharatra. So here, Narada's pointing out, you're sitting here dissatisfied, like I've done so much work, but yet I'm not don't feel completely fulfilled. Why is that? Narada is saying, because you have not emphasized the worship of the Lord completely. But I, in turn, am feeling completely satisfied because I wrote the direct process of worshiping the Lord in the Pancharatra. So right there is the example. The Guru is satisfied because he is engaged in pure bhakti. He is the writer or the compiler of the Pancharatra system in worshiping the Lord, receiving the mantras and so forth. Everything is described there. And you wrote so much knowledge about karma and gyan and dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, and yet you're not satisfied. Meaning that bhakti was not emphasized. And especially the aspect of pure bhakti. Narada says, whereas I emphasize pure bhakti through the medium of worship through the Pancharatra system. Next verse says, O Brahmana, the Lord, knowing that I had undertaken the highest instructions given by him, gave me realization of himself, along with powerful cities, and ultimately praying. So Narada says, and by doing this, the Lord, being pleased with me, gave me realization of himself, along with various powers, and finally, the ultimate goal, praying. Swanigama, going within, means instructions given by the Lord, given in his own confidential version of the Vedas called the Pancharatra. First, the Lord gave me realization of himself. We may call that gyan or knowledge, but it is pure knowledge. The nature of one's relationship with the Lord is pure knowledge and is non-different than bhakti. So this gyan is non-different than bhakti. He also gave me powers such as anima and other siddhis. But seeing that I was unattached to those powers, the Lord then gave me great prem for himself. Swamim bhavam adat. So the Lord gave him awakening of knowledge of himself. But then there was a little bit of a test. Those things may give some power or prestige or position, and one may take advantage of that. And then one feels oneself to be very powerful. But one has to remain very humble in all situations. So even if one is powerful, one has to know that power is ultimately God's power. That story is told actually later on in the Bhagavatam with Arjuna, who was the most powerful bowman. And he realized at a certain point he couldn't perform the tasks that he previously did because that power came from Krishna. So that story will be described later. But Arjuna realized that ultimately even his expertise as being the great bowman that he was came from the Lord. It is Krishna is the all-powerful. And whatever power we have, or whatever knowledge we have, whatever we may have, is Krishna's opulence. Everything comes from God. Everything comes from Krishna. And whatever we may have, little speck of knowledge or beauty or strength or this or that, comes from God. It is God's beauty. It's God's knowledge. To claim it as our own is a great fault upon the conditioned soul. We have to recognize that it is God who has given us this power. It is God who has given us this knowledge. So there may be a little bit of a test. And when the Lord sees that we're not attached to that and trying to utilize that for some name and fame, sometimes yogis can gather followers and stuff. They can show some miracle things they can do and so forth. But they're not. But those who are attached to that and gaining the name and fame, they cannot have Krishna. But those who have that power, but have no attachment to it, but remain fixed in their attachment to service to the Lord, ultimately Krishna rewards them with prem. The intelligent person can understand then that Vyas prayed to Narada. So what was the outcome? Oh, Narada, Vyasa is saying to Narada, please teach me this mantra. And then he learned that same mantra. In other words, success was there. Narada told him his story, and he emphasized that what was lacking in him was the presentation of pure bhakti, and how Narada, as a young boy of a maidservant, received the blessings and the mantras from his gurus at that time. Now Vyas says, oh, I want that mantra. I want to develop the highest understanding. I want to follow your course of glorifying the Lord as you did within your own writings, the Pancharatra. And I will describe the Lord now, along with everything that is connected with him in the book known as the Srimad Bhagavatam. This is where this is going, of course. Vyasadeva becomes the compiler and the writer of the narrations of Sri Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Shayam. The final verse of chapter 5, O omniscient Vyas, explain the glories of Krishna. So this is the instruction that Narada is giving to Vyas. You're asking me for the mantra. Please teach me this mantra. I want to learn the same as you have. O omniscient Vyas, explain the glories of Krishna, by which the curiosity of persons already having so much knowledge will be satisfied. The wise do not consider that there is any other way to destroy the afflictions of the jivas tormented by suffering. Commentary. O knower of many scriptures, Adabrashuta, O omniscient one, please relate the glories of the Lord. That is my instruction to you. I will give you the mantra, but you have a purpose to fulfill now, and you need to glorify Krishna. Write that book by which the Lord is glorified and pure bhakti is emphasized. By understanding them, the desire of the knowers who want to know will be satisfied. Those who are seekers, in other words. Those who want to know, those who are true seekers, they will become satisfied by reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. This means that those who become devoted solely to these confidential scriptures will have the sweet taste of the Lord's glories and will not have a desire for impersonal gyan. Those with intelligence do not consider that the calamity of the jivas afflicted by suffering can be removed by any other means. Those who are actually wise understand that the living being cannot be free from his suffering condition unless he takes up the process of pure devotion to the Lord. That is called bhakti. Thus ends the commentary on the 5th chapter of the 1st canto of the Bhagavatam, written for the pleasure of the devotees in accordance with the previous acharyas. Grantara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai, Jai Shri Radhe Shyam.